Hello friends, welcome to Squared Plans. I'm Stephanie and today we're going to be setting up our faith spreads for the month of May. And I've got this washi tape here ready to go, as well as these stickers I made on my foam memo printer and these sticker books which I'll pull from. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and lay down some wax paper here over my first spread, my monthly layout. For this month, I decided to do another scripture reading plan. Really enjoyed the one I did with the fasting, and so this time I found one that was about health, which I could always use a little extra encouragement in that area. So I found that, and I'll be using that throughout the month. I'll put in the scripture for each day on the days that it's appointed, and then I'll write in what I've learned from the Bible passage above it each day. So that's kind of how I'll be using this monthly layout. And I just put down a quote sticker from my Watercolor Brights accessory pack. It's an old book, more of a, like I said, an accessory pack that I've cut down. It used to come with like post-it notes and some inserts. Anyway, it's old, and so I will just be using that one quote from there since I've used a lot of the stickers in that book already. I just liked that it had those softer watercolor feels on that quote, and that's really what I'm going to be going for with this spread, seeing as I'm going to be using these teacups as my main decor. The teacups came from the Happy Illustration sticker book, and I just have that full page there of those that I'll be using. And I also have this Wellness Warrior sticker book that I haven't even used yet, but noticed that the colors were nice and soft and kind of had those watercolor feels, so thought they would be a good match. And wellness works well with the faith theme. There's a lot of crossover as far as the sentiments in there. I think that I'll be able to make a nice match between these two. So I'm just trying to figure out how to use those empty days at the top of the month. I do want to pull in a few of the teacups here just because that's the theme, and then some of that watercolor feel. Originally I was thinking to put each one of those little words on the day and then kind of melt in the teacups, but I think I'm going to cut the words off and kind of make it a little bit more subtle so it's not too crowded up there. I'm going to be writing in each day, so I just don't want it to be overwhelming to look at when it's all filled out. So I think going a little bit lighter on the black, cutting out the words, and just using a little bit of that top half of each one of those stickers will give a nice watercolor feel with some nice soft pastel colors without being too overwhelming. I've also put in some washi tape along the header just to help define the area a bit, and I'll be using that, I think, throughout the spread. I also put some confetti washi down at the bottom to kind of drive home that scatter dot feel that I was feeling from the teacups. I thought it was a nice combination to add in that washi as well. So I am whiting out the fine lines between those days at the top of the month. I'm also going to do that behind the area where I'm going to lay in that larger quote. And I'm just using my Jelly Roll Sakura white opaque pen. That, as well as pretty much all of the tools and resources I'm using in this spread, will be in the description below. So if you're looking for something in particular, do check the description. I usually have a link to pretty much everything I use here. So as that white line dries, I'm going to go ahead and lay down the washi tape at the bottom and just kind of do a little bit of a trim out here so that it's nice and clean. Usually when I cut my own inserts, I will have a little bit of fluctuation with the sizing at the very bottom. So the right hand side is a little bit closer to the bottom as far as the design versus the left side, but just a little trimming there I think hides it pretty well. And I had previously cut this washi tape, so I'm just kind of putting it together in a bit of a hodgepodge across the bottom in strips that I had already pre-cut. And now I'm laying down that quote here at the top. Just going to add a little bit more white out there behind the T so it's nice and clean. And now I'm going to lay in that washi tape that I laid down at the top before. I'm going to go ahead and move it to the bottom. I think it would have been nicer to have it at the very bottom, like actually flush with the line, but that would have covered up the numbers below it, and I didn't want that to happen. The design of the washi, I think, just would have looked a little bit better had I been able to do it, but I still think this works. I just definitely needed a solid line there for bottoming out this part of the spread, so the washi does the job. So I'm just laying down those little swatches there along the line of the washi, and I'll be laying in these cups in between, just kind of trying to match the color scheme in that rainbow pattern. And okay, I think that looks really cute, so I'm going to go ahead and just pencil in the title of this month's theme, which is this health reading plan I'll be using, and I'll just kind of do a little bit of monoline here, trying to match the style that you'll see later on the quotes that I printed from my foam memo printer, so it all kind of ties together. And I'll do a quick little example just in pencil of how I'll be writing in each of the verses listed for each day. And then, like I said, I will be writing in a brief summary of what I've read and kind of what I gathered from the reading for the day. And I'm using my Tombow Fudenosuke brush pen in a hard tip. It's a really nice pen for beginners who need a little extra help with control. Still learning lettering, and I don't do traditional practice. I just kind of practice my own way here in my faith planner, so definitely could use a little bit more technique in my schedule, but I think that it still comes out pretty good. And like I said, my lettering isn't quite perfect. It's, it's very loose and there's not a lot of consistency as far as how the letters look, but I think it's kind of fun to have my own lettering here in the spread as stickers. So I'm going to go ahead and place those here on the This Week area. I've been using that area primarily for decor most of the time just because it's a nice open area. And on the actual days themselves, I will write in the verse of the day from an app called YouVersion, Bible app that I have on my phone. It feeds in a daily verse each day, and then I also use that for a Bible reading that I do because I go through the Bible each year through this app. It's got a plan already set up, so you just got to open up the plan and read the day's reading. So I use that app pretty much primarily for my faith planning, and I'll also be using that to look up my verse each day under my health reading plan. So anyway, I need all of the space for each day, but the This Week area is a nice open area where I can add a little bit of something extra. So that's where I'll be putting in the decor for most of this spread. I've also put in a strip of washi across the middle, just again to tie in things and add a little bit extra to the spread aside from this decor I have in the corner. I'm also pulling in some little bits and pieces that I have pulled out of the Wellness Warrior sticker book. I really saw some little elements of scatter and things that I wanted to add in from different stickers, so I just kind of cut up a few stickers and I'm trying to add in those little elements right now onto the decor. It's a little bit awkward because I'm using that Wellness Warrior sticker base that there's 4 of them and I don't see myself really using those regularly in any of my spreads. So I figured that would be a fine sticker to kind of cut up and try to piece out some of those elements. But they're a little bit hard to puzzle in here on the spread, so we'll see how it all turns out. As for the quotes that I'm using, basically I have an iPad that I use Procreate and I just drew them in. I actually looked up verses that were about tea and I found 4 that would work out, I thought, for this spread. So I just went into Procreate and drew them in, saved them as images, took them to my phone and printed them on my phone memo printer. So it was pretty fast. And I think that the result is really good with this theme, having these separate verses that are all kind of tied to the teacup theme. So right now I'm just kind of cutting off the excess off of these quotes so that I can easily lay them in and not worry about so much extra overlap. Being mindful to keep a little strip that's up against the edge so that I can tear away the background pretty easily. So just FYI, if you do have a foam memo printer like me and have a similar style of label, it's almost impossible to get those things off without having that little lip between the backing and the sticker itself. So I'm always careful to make sure I have a way to remove the sticker from the backing when I cut down a sticker. And if it doesn't look like that will be happening, I will take the sticker off the backing first. So just a little tip, if you do have a printer like that that has that really secure backing on the back of the label. So just for simplicity's sake, I'm going to take this wax paper that you see here and just use the 4 top days like they would be for each of the 4 weeks I'll be using, putting quotes in and how they might lay out. And at this point in the video, my camera just decided to unfocus for some odd reason. So just a second and I will bring you back in here with a little bit more of progress already made on the spread. So I've laid in quite a few more of the teacups here, as you can see, and kind of laid out how the 4 spreads will look like there in that upper left corner. This is the side of the sticker that I was pulling a lot of that bits and pieces of color to add in for some watercolor feels here on the spread, as well as that scatter. I just felt like that little bit of dot pattern kind of mimicked how it was in the teacups, and I really wanted to bring that in, particularly with extra stickers here, but I also did so with the washi tape. So since I'm cutting up a sticker that isn't really set up for what I'm trying to make it do, it takes a little bit for me to puzzle together these pieces and kind of create my own sticker with the elements I was able to scavenge out of that. I really like the idea of bringing in just a little bit of extra here. You guys know I love texture. I'm a big texture fan, so just that little bit I think just adds extra oomph to the design. And I was able to really make it work with 3 out of the 4. The last one was a little bit too busy, I thought, to add in that extra bit. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave it as is. And I have 2 teacups left over in gray, and I'm just trying to find a nice home for them that I might be able to pull in. We'll see if we can get that to work. So I think it's going to be too hard to incorporate those gray cups. I don't want it to be just overwhelming. So I think I'll just limit it to these, and we'll just save those cups for some other spread maybe in the future, although I don't know where I would use those. And I'm going to go ahead and start laying things onto the spread. I'm going to move over the washi tape first and probably just lay in all of the washi and then go to the wax paper in the end. I'll start doing that now. I think I will actually cut down this confetti washi all at once. It might make it a little bit easier, so I'm going to go ahead and lay some out onto my cutting board, kind of get an idea of how big they need to be. There was a flaw in my idea of this when I start laying things out, which you'll see. The layout is shifted towards the right, away from the spine, so the other side is going to be a little bit short, which you'll see. For the most part, it's not that noticeable, and I usually am able to kind of cover it, as you'll see, but it's something I didn't really think about until I was already done with all of the cutting and prep work here. And this layout is the Quadrant layout from my Etsy shop if you are interested in this layout in particular. I have it in undated, dated, and a combo planner. The one linked below in the description is the combo planner, which I have with the monthly layout. So I went ahead and cut down all of those confetti washi strips in half so that I can lay them here at the top. And as you'll see soon, they are just a little bit short on the spine edge, and on some of them they're a little bit long on the other edge. So I'm trying to repurpose that little piece in the corner just to make it look a little bit more seamless. This washi is pretty forgiving as far as that goes because of its kind of haphazard confetti nature. It's easy to lay over the washis and not really have any problems. And it's white, so, or roughly white, kind of a soft white, so it does melt into the page a bit. So I'm just going to go ahead and do all of these pages real quick here and trim them out. It can be hard to align the washi right up against the edge of a page. It's not my favorite thing to do because it tends to be somewhat cumbersome, but this washi is pretty forgiving. This washi is from Joann's. It was part of a set I got a while back, and the feel of it is almost a bit waxy versus just like a normal paper washi. So I think that makes it a little bit easier to remove from the paper. This type of paper that I use, this copier paper, which is also linked below if you are looking for it, is a really nice, smooth, bright paper, but it also adheres to stickers really well. So it makes it hard to move things around once you've committed it to the sheet. But luckily this washi tape, like I said, is a little bit more forgiving because of that waxy nature that it has. And okay, I think we're done with that. And I'm going to go ahead and lay in that strip of scalloped washi across the middle on all of the spreads as well. Just kind of prep that out. And I was going to cut it, and then I thought, well, I should just wrap it around the page and make it a little bit easier on myself. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for the rest of the spreads. I also have it upside down because of the way that the washi is on the spool, the way it's wound up, so that I can easily go from left to right with the washi as opposed to trying to finagle it the opposite way, which doesn't feel natural when you're trying to lay down the washi. And I've trimmed it all out, and now we're ready to move over those this week decor area items. So I'm going to lay those in. Throw in the teacups. And I'm going to go in the order that I had them laid out on the wax paper, so I'm just basically moving things over. We got that one done. It's going pretty quickly. I tried to vary the design of each one of these so that they felt unique. So each one has a little bit of different feel to it. And then this very last one, a little bit more of a challenge to get all these cups in here without it feeling too overwhelming, but I think it works well with this smaller quote I have. Basically, once I get this last one in there, we will be done, friends. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up down below. Go ahead and leave me a comment if you'd like to get in touch. And think about subscribing to my channel if you haven't already, if you'd like to see more of my videos. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you next time. Bye!